All right, guys, thank you for joining me today or this morning. For those of you that are not, sorry about last night. I had something come up, so I attended to that. Anyway, I will be on Thursday night for the doubleheader, and then we'll move on from there. So anyway, we got a couple things to talk about in regards to news that's sort of not really being covered, and that's why we have the Wednesday midweek report. So I'm starting out with something that, listen, I take a lot of shit with a grain of salt until it actually materializes or comes to fruition, however you want to look at it. I don't take this too seriously, but it's definitely on the radar. So this first article, and Flown Grown Mary, thank you for the 5x5. Water Tiger, thank you for the 5x5. Adriana, what's going on? So, yeah, thank you for that. And Daryl, thank you for the 5x5. So, let's start out with this. I don't know. I mean, it's a warning, I guess. Yeah, my screen froze and then it came back. It didn't freeze. It blanked out and came back. So hopefully you guys are still seeing. Rhonda said 5x5. Spam by spam. All right. Hopefully things are squared away. All right. Cool. Black Flag, thank you for the 5x5. Zero by zero. So they don't see me at all. Well, I'm still seeing myself on the on my iPad on YouTube. So Kitrit said Mike said you're back. Critter, sorry, said you're coming through fine. And Evil Girl just finished Bear. Thank you for joining me, guys. No issue here. No issue. All right, good. Still here. All right, so again, this is a warning coming from Irish officials. Irish officials monitoring situation as U.S. warns citizens of imminent attack in Moscow. The Department of Foreign Affairs has said it is monitoring reports of an imminent terror attack on Moscow and has renewed its warning for Irish people not to travel to Russia. Interesting. They're telling them not to travel. South Florida, Michelle, Desmond, thank you for the 5x5. Groundhog, thank you for the 5x5. Appreciate it. And Rev Rebel, thank you for the 5x5. So the U.S. Embassy said on its website that it's also following reports of an imminent threat. They don't know where this threat's from. Now, of course, guys, if this does turn into something, if this threat does come to fruition, the United States is going to get the blame 1,000%. Irish warning comes after the U.S. Embassy in Moscow issued a warning to its citizens. So the Moscow issued a warning to a citizen. The Irish warned their citizens, and now the U.S. are warning their citizens in Moscow as well. The embassy is monitoring reports that extremists have imminent plans to target large gatherings in Moscow, to include concerts and U.S. citizens. Concerts and U.S. citizens should be advised to avoid large gatherings over the next 48 hours. The U.K. Foreign Office and the embassy in Moscow also issued this warning. A spokesperson, and I will be releasing a video on the Angry Prepper later today in regards to this. A spokesperson for the Irish Department of Foreign Affairs confirmed this morning that a consular team is monitoring the situation. The UK Foreign Office and its embassies in Moscow also issued a warning as well. If all of these embassies are issuing a warning, is it A, standard operating procedure, B, something is coming, or C, they're just all parroting each other just to cover their asses in case some shit happens? We are aware of the reports of an increased threat to large gatherings in Moscow and monitoring the situation. Our advice to citizens on large gatherings continue to be that Irish citizens in Russia should be vigilant about their own safety and avoid mass gatherings, including protests and or demonstrations. The Department of Foreign Affairs strongly advised against all travel to the Russian Federation. Irish citizens who are in Russia are advised to carefully consider the necessities of their continued stay in Russia. We strongly recommend all Irish citizens to have plan in place to leave Russia should their own circumstances deteriorate. They're pretty much telling you you're on your own. So whatever this is, guys, this seems to be something that they are, as you hear me reading, monitoring very closely. And they're telling them that they should have a plan to leave, as opposed to come to the embassy and we'll get you the hell out of here. Have your own plan. Pretty interesting. The department referred also to its extensive travel advice on its website. Foreign Affairs have also issued a warning to Irish citizens to stay clear of large gatherings, particularly protests. That was specifically in regards to the risk of an arbitrary detention by Russian security forces. It has advised since the state of the Ukraine war against all travel to Russia and has told Irish citizens they have a plan to leave the country. Yesterday, the news agency Reuters reported that the FSB, the Russian Internal Intelligence Agency, which is a Soviet era known as the KGB, they changed their name, has claimed to have halted a terror attack on a synagogue in Moscow. So the KGB, ex-KGB, or the Russian Internal Intelligence Agency, states that they halted or foiled a terror attack on a synagogue in Moscow. The FSB has claimed that just a few hours before the U.S. warning that it had arrested an ISIS cell in the Kaluga region of Russia. The agency claims that the group were an ISIS faction attached to the Afghan version of the Islamic State known as ISIS. They are known as ISIS-K. The K stands for Khorasan. I'm probably reading that wrong. Reports were that the Russians had shot the militants. No shit. Reuters reporting that it is unable to link the warning with the elimination of the ISIS-K team. Russia had occupied Afghanistan several years ago, but withdrew from the country back in February of '89. That's the bell for downstairs. Don't know why they're ringing me. I don't have any deliveries coming in. And they always seem to do this on a Wednesday when I'm doing this shit. But whatever. So again, guys, this could be a psych op, as Chris is saying. This could be nothing, but there are too many different agencies warning about it. Now, it would make sense that the warning was because of the militants that the Russians shot that were trying to do something to a synagogue. It could be that. Hold on. So I get so many packages that I forget what I'm getting. I was receiving a package. I forgot about it. But anyway, so back to it. Chris, I didn't figure out the plumbing situation just yet. Again, I leave it in the hands of the maintenance guys in the building to figure that out. But like I said before, in regards to the plumbing, it'll go months to years without flooding, and then all of a sudden it floods again. So it's not a blockage in the pipe. And the vent issue, I just opened up the vents because we had vents in the bathroom, and we're still having a problem. So again, or maybe, just maybe, like off subject real quick from this, just maybe they're flooding the one sink, to get us out of the apartment, because the rent here is fairly cheap for what they could be getting. The market value of this apartment is double of what I'm paying per month. And being that they're not getting the market value, they could be trying to run me out of here with that. That's the only thing I could think of, because it doesn't make sense. I don't think anybody else is experiencing it but this apartment. So we should see. Anyway, guys, it's not because of your age at all. Yeah, because I fucking forget about a lot of shit. Anyway, again, guys, it's just as a warning coming from over there, and everybody over there is warning it. You got the U.S. embassies, the Irish embassy. You got routers reporting that there was a terror attack stopped, and that the Russians reported that they stopped it rather, and that they shot the militants with an S. So there might have been multiple suspects, that they are connected to the ISIS-K group in Afghanistan, and that there's multiple travel advisories as to not going to Russia as of right now. So anyway, with that, guys, it seems like this could be something, or this could be nothing at all, or this was something and it was stopped. Who knows? Nonetheless, guys, we're definitely going to be seeing more terror attacks over the next couple of years, or forever, as long as this country stands. So, moving right along. Now, I'm not going to talk about what's going on in Haiti. I'm going to talk about what's going on in Haiti Thursday night. Again, Haiti is just descending into complete and utter chaos. But, again, such is life. So, we're going to talk about this real quick. I'm sort of jumping around, and I shouldn't do that because I hate doing that. But we're going to talk about something very, very interesting. Now, a lot of you remember I reported or talked about Pfizer letting go a number of employees because as they put it, Mr. 19 business or COVID business is rapidly declining. So, of course, guys, with that, Pfizer is pivoting, if you will, and they're looking to release a cancer drug. So the article reads, Pfizer bets on cancer drug to recover from rapid decline of Mr. 19 business, COVID. Pfizer is pushing to be more involved in cancer drugs after a turbulent year marketed by the rapid decline of the Mr. 19 business. And this is how they're putting it. So they looked at COVID as a business. That should fucking tell you everything you need to know about the arm ticket. Lionheart, sorry I couldn't make the ruckus. I apologize for that, and if he does this again next year, I will be there. Come hell or high water, I will be there. Vision preparedness. When do I think the U.S. will see or may see a terror attack? Here's the problem with the whole terror attack thing. Clearly, guys, they're allowed to happen. Because there might be smaller ones, like, single dudes like myself, ready to light some shit up. There might be more of those. But the grand scale ones are very hard. The amount of intel going in and out of this country and other countries around the world, we know the government knows about something like that before we do. When 9/11 happened, they were warned about this. They were warned about that attack, and it went down anyway. And according to the 9/11 Commission report, it was our lack of imagination, because the one agent in Phoenix, I think it was, in Arizona, out of the FBI agency there, he stated that they would fly a plane into large buildings. He didn't say the Trade Center specifically. He said large buildings. With that, a few years later, it happened. And they had gotten phone calls from a plane school, a pilot school rather, sorry, an aeronautics school, about guys wanting to just learn how to lift off, but not land. Now, that in itself is suspicious, even for a terrorist. I don't know why terrorists would think in that level, like, hey, man, I just want to lift off and not land. That's a red flag. Well, nonetheless, that red flag was flagged by the school, flight school, and the FBI was called on it, and they still ignore that. So they had 2 warnings, and they ignored both. So anything that happens next, guys, is absolutely going to be allowed to happen, just like the attack in Israel. That was allowed to happen, right? For reasons of money. But anyway, sorry, back to this article. So, Pfizer is pushing to be involved in what you call the decline of their business. Decline of their Mr. 19 business, excuse me. During a 4-hour investor event last week, Pfizer pushed its innovative to accelerate breakthrough that helps people with cancer globally live better and live longer. The drug maker, and keep in mind, guys, whoever wrote this article should be popped in the back of the head. There are so many misspellings in here, it's out of control. All I did was like copy and paste this, and I see all the red lines going across words that should be like easily spelled. Like, my God, man, what is wrong with you? Anyway, let me get back to this. The drug maker has ramped up its efforts to outdo cancer since it acquired an oncology biotech firm, Seagen, for $43 billion in December, this past December. The acquisition doubled Pfizer's cancer drug pipeline to 60 different experimental programs, according to the CNBC. While the company has said that it has or can produce at least 8 blockbuster medicines by 2030, up just from 5 today. It wasn't immediately clear which drug Pfizer believes could offer the potential to outdo cancer. So they're lining themselves up. So now keep in mind, guys, a few months ago, Pfizer let go, I think it was 22,000 employees. Because the Mr. 19 business is not doing good, right? But in allowing people, I'm looking for, I can't find it. Yeah, but I think they let go like 22,000 employees worldwide. This is globally. Here in the United States, it was like 1,100 or 1,500, something like that. So that means everywhere else is taking a hit. But anyway, yeah, I think I have the math here, but I can't find it. Yeah, anyway, so they laid off a lot of people, bottom line. And I hate when I do this. And they let a lot of people go, and I think they are starting to see that income affect them, or lack of income affect them, sorry. Analysts have advised that it will take a few years for some of the company's cancer drugs that are currently in mid-stage development to show pivotal clinical trial data and become less risky. So according to them, right now it's risky. The company is facing a number of challenges, according to some analysis from CNBC. For example, revenue from breast cancer drug Ibrance, and prostate cancer treatment Xtandi have declined in recent months. Pfizer has shared those funds with Astellas Pharma since 2009, when the two pharmaceutical companies agreed to jointly develop and commercialize what has become popular cancer treatments. Both drugs are expected to lose market exclusivity in 2027. Chris Boshoff, a longtime Pfizer executive who led Pfizer's oncology research and development, said during the investor event that Pfizer has 10 manufacturing sites producing cancer drugs on 3 continents. Now, they still have to do the the testing, sorry. So you have to think by 2025 they'll have a viable drug, and by 2030 is why they gave themselves 5 years to do testing. And by 2030 they should have enough drugs. So anyway, guys, bottom line is Pfizer is taking a beating because nobody is taking their bullshit. Everybody's done with the crap. Last year, Pfizer also saw revenue plummet 41% to $58.5 billion due primarily to the expected decline in Mr. 19 arm ticket. The year prior, Pfizer tapped a record $100 billion from $37 billion, of which was directly attributed to the arm ticket. So $37 billion is directly attributed to the arm ticket. But now that they're like, shit, man, people are not buying our shit anymore. What do we do? Oh, we'll release cancer cures or cancer treatments. Now, I've heard this years ago, so this is complete conspiracy theory. But Pfizer and another drug company have the cure for cancer. They have taken those cures and taken components out of them to come up with the drug treatments that they have for cancer today. So that people are not cured, but they are coming back for treatment, which keeps a revenue stream going. In turn, the drug companies are on board with the FDA to increase cancers by any means necessary. Now, I heard this years ago. It was, again, a conspiracy theory. But what are we seeing now? We're seeing an uptick in cancers. Draw your own conclusion, guys. But this is not a coincidence, like, at all. So, Chris Bashkov did not elaborate on specific sale projection for Pfizer's oncology franchise by 2030, aside from the fact that it's expected to be $10 billion in sales by 2030. Sorry, and that's a result of the company Seagen that Pfizer acquired a few years ago. Now, Pfizer is buying a lot of smaller pharmaceutical companies. They're trying to dominate the pharmaceutical game, and they're making deals with Amazon. And that is something, again, another rumor I heard. So a couple of the heavy hitters are making deals with Amazon, and Amazon is going to get into the pharmaceutical game. They are already delivering drugs and taking prescriptions, or delivering prescription drugs, sorry. They're going to start having insurance companies go through them so that they can start prescribing medications. Then they're going to get into the pharmaceutical game as far as developing pharmaceutical drugs. This is Amazon we're talking about. And this will probably happen within the next 5 to 10 years. So maybe if I'm still around, if I'm not dead, whatever the case is, maybe you guys will remember me saying that. So anyway, guys, Pfizer is taking a beating as per usual. Not as per usual, but as of right now, because nobody is believing in their bullshit. Though, whenever you go to a pharmacy, you see morons online for the Mr. 19 arm ticket and the flu arm ticket. Go figure. All right. So now, of course, guys, this study, I find it interesting that this study came out a couple of days ago. But new study reveals many excess deaths attributed to natural causes were, in fact, unaccounted Mr. 19 deaths. According to federal counts, nearly 1.1 million people had died from Mr. 19 in the United States. Multiple excess mortality studies suggest that these totals are vastly undercounted. While excess mortality provides an estimation of deaths that likely would not have occurred under normal circumstances, non-pandemic conditions, there is still little evidence into whether the Mr. 19 effect contributed to these additional deaths, or whether these deaths are caused by other factors such as healthcare disruption or social economic challenges. They love to throw that one in there now. Social economic challenges. I work in a shitty neighborhood, lived in a shitty neighborhood, and live in a crack-infested neighborhood. There's no shortage of medical problems or lack of medical problems here, medical help, or treatment here in neighborhoods like this. A new study led by a School of Public Health and the University of Pennsylvania, UPenn, provided the first concrete data showing that many of these excess passings were indeed unaccounted Mr. 19 deaths. Published in the journal PNAS, the study compared reports of Mr. 19 deaths to excess deaths due to non-Mr. 19s, non-COVID-19s, natural causes such as disease and chronic illness, and found that the increase in non-Mr. 19 excess death occurred at the same time or in the month prior to increased reports of Mr. 19 deaths. So what they're trying to do, guys, is they're trying to up the number of deaths. Because, and this is just a theory, because Pfizer's taking a hit, Moderna's taking a hit, so they're like, you know what? Let's up the ante, let's up the amount of deaths and get more people scared to take the alarm tickets. That is my conclusion, I think. Focusing on the excess death by natural causes rather than all cause excess deaths estimates provide more accurate understanding of the true number of deaths attributable to Mr. 19 as eliminated external cause of mortality, such as intentional or unintentional injuries. Intentional, or unintentional injuries. I don't get that. Our finding shows that Mr. 19 deaths went unaccounted during the pandemic, says the study corresponding author Andrew Stokes, associated professor of global health. Now, most universities, guys, and a lot of us caught on to this during the Mr. 19 event, a lot of universities were doing studies on Mr. 19. Various studies, whether that was how it affects the lungs, how it affects your hair falling out, how it affects your heart, and there were multiple studies across the board. And a lot of universities got a lot of government handouts, and they got a lot of funding from pharmaceutical companies to have certain findings go in their favor so that they can ultimately buy whatever they need for that university, that college. So when colleges like UPenn come out with studies like this, I go blind. I immediately go blind. I'm like, I know what they're doing. They're trying to dress up the numbers so that more people get scared, so that more people can take the shot. But it's all bullshit. Sometimes I glance over at the chat, which I shouldn't do, but I glance over the chat and I see interesting conversation. Yeah. So anyway, guys, bottom line is they're trying to sit there and say that the arm ticket, that Mr. 19 caused way more people to pass away than unexpected. Except for, in this entire study, they do not have a estimate number. They can't even come close. So for the study, Stokes, Paglione, and colleagues utilized novel statistical methods to analyze monthly data on natural causes deaths and reported Mr. 19 deaths for 3,100 countries over the first 30 months of the pandemic. From March 2020 to August 2022, they estimate 1.2. Okay, so they have a number here. They estimated that 1.2 million excess natural cause deaths occurred in the United States during this period, and found that roughly 163,000 of these deaths did not have Mr. 19 listed at all in the death certificates. So now they're trying to say that the total number of deaths, again, it's an estimate number, the total number of deaths would be close to 3 million deaths now, right? Because if you had 1.1, 1.2, so it's 2.3 million deaths that they're saying occurred with Mr. 19. That's what they're trying to say. Now, as it stands, the number's still 1.1 million. But if this study gets added to the 1.1, it's going to make it 2.3 million deaths. And then the amount of people that passed away are going to go. Now, I see where the study was trying to do. I see where they were going with this. And they're just going to be, they're going to change the number over the next year. So I would say by the end of the year, it's not going to be 1.1 anymore. It's going to be 2.3. I guarantee you. And they're going to look at they go, no, not 1.1. They changed the numbers. And this study, though, is going to go against what was actually written on coroner reports and shit like that, right? Because there were a lot of coroners, you heard 163,000 didn't put Mr. 19 as the cause of death on the death certificate. So that's interesting in itself. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to be it for. Oh, also, I'm going to do a video on the TikTok ban. It got passed. Now they're kicking it up to the president. The president's going to sign it and banning TikTok. And I haven't seen any videos of people breaking, because I don't have TikTok, but I haven't seen any videos of people breaking down and crying and carrying on. But it's undoubtedly going to happen. Also, if and when Trump wins the election, I am going to the inauguration. That is going to be awesome. A lot of people did not notice, but when Trump was getting inaugurated, what was it, 2016? When he was getting inaugurated the first time, there were people acting, there was a mini riot in Washington, D.C. They were burning cars, breaking businesses because he was getting inaugurated. If he gets elected the second time around, Washington, D.C. is gonna be pandemonium, and I cannot wait. I'm going to make fun of so many liberals. It'll be glorious. Glorious. But anyway, that's coming. That's a year from now. I'm just getting you guys lined up for it, because when it happens, it's going to be awesome. The TikTok ban, there's going to be a lot of pushback from it. There are a lot of politicians pushing back from it as we speak. There are a lot of people crying about it. And the only bad thing about TikTok, the only bad thing about the TikTok ban, guys, is that a lot of people are going to lose a lot of revenue. That's the only bad thing about it. I do have to feel bad for those who are making stupid videos but making money and supporting their family. So being that people are supporting their family, and being that people are making money from this and providing a living, it does suck that people are going to have to go without. Adriana says, I'll go too. Listen, that'll be cool. The more people to go, the better to watch this chaos ensue in D.C. It'll be awesome. Anyway, guys, with that being said, my last live stream that I said was demonetized, it was, but they gave it back to me. This is undoubtedly going to be demonetized because I mentioned excess debt too many times. Such is life. Anyway, with that being said, guys, thank you for joining me today. I'm going to go off the air. I got some video editing to do. I got some videos to do. I'm going to go off the air. I'm going to do a video real quick, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the doubleheader. I promise I will. And I will have a special guest for the Angry Prepper tomorrow night, but we are going to talk about some interesting shit tomorrow night. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for following me, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.